Every February, a whisper of excitement travels through the air in Japan. Months before the season even begins, most of Japan prepares for one of Mother Nature's most stunning displays. It's the cherry blossom season, or Sakura, as they're known in Japan. While the season has been celebrated for centuries, the breathtaking allure lasts only for a week, sometimes two at most, before the Sakura snow falls to the ground or is carried off by the breeze. Because of this short-lived phenomenon, the flowers have come to represent life's brief, fleeting time that each of us have. The Japanese actually have a phrase for this, mono no aware, which literally translates to the pathos of things, or more simply, the bittersweet understanding that everything is temporary. It's not meant to be a general sadness, but rather a deep emotion when one realizes that everything is passing and of its own time and place. Through this awareness, many have taken the mindfulness approach to be present in each moment. But Chad, you say, I came back to hear part 2 of this series on depression, not to be more depressed. Why all the gloom? Well, I'm grateful you asked because, as you will soon see in just a moment, Sakuras, or cherry blossoms, offer us more than just a passing stroll through Gloom Garden. So, chin up. Yes, it may be weeks away from cherry blossom season, and it is on the other side of the planet, but I guarantee you the same sun that brings life to millions of blossoms across the pond passes over your head each day in hopes of seeing you just the same. Join me as we go into part 2 of this series on depression, bringing the conversation to the coffee tables as we open up and find ways to take each step one after the other. So come along, come with me, let's do it together. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. Now, before I begin, just a brief catch-up on the previous episode. That's episode number 22, You Can't Always Get What You Want. The takeaway was to change the channel. That problem you're overthinking. The thought you cannot let go of. The struggle with a most devastating word. Why? Why did this happen? Why can't I stop forgiving myself? Why am I this or that? Replacing the why with how. How can I avoid this next time? How can I forgive myself? How can I change the way I feel towards this or that? If why is the car in park, how is the car in drive? Having a catalyst to create momentum to move us from our present sorrow is the first step in being able to take even the simplest step in recovery. If you haven't listened to episode 22, please take a few moments and go ahead. Not to mention, you'll learn some fascinating history on the Rolling Stones. Really, I promise. Now, back to Japan. Beautiful flowers budding on trees are not the only new beginnings the Japanese experience between March and April every year, as this is also the start of graduation and entrance ceremonies for school. It's also the beginning of their fiscal calendar. Yet, what fascinates me more than even cherry blossom ice cream, it does exist, is knowing this happens every year, without a Google Calendar reminder, or wondering not if, but when, and believing at the right time, blossoms will bloom, birds will sing, and the sun will shine. But to put all of Mother Nature's efforts into one word with this whole cherry blossom season that happens almost the day each year, that word would be structure. Structure. Dictionary.com says structure is the arrangement of and relations between the parts or elements of something complex. Huh? Come on, Webster. In my own words, it's something arranged in an orderly pattern. But come on, that's a lot simpler to say. Something arranged in an orderly pattern. I wake up, I let the dog out, and then I pour a cup of coffee. Methodical, always methodical coffee, but you know that by now. But that's my structure, my routine. That is my habit. Our day-to-day should be no different than Mother Nature planting cherry blossoms or Christmas. When you incorporate structure into your everyday, you begin to feel in control, that you're doing something, that your moments matter. Now, imagine, if you will, Mother Nature decided to have the cherry blossoms bloom in October. And maybe she kind of switched things up and had pumpkins grow in April. We would all scratch our heads, bewildered, and say, are you feeling okay? When you lack scheduled activities and have inconsistent routines, it basically increases your feelings of helplessness, your loss of control. Without structure, even the simplest of plans, like getting dressed for the day, calling a friend, or even writing in your journal, without something in place, you begin to lose not only your purpose, but your identity as well. So, how do we kickstart this? How do we get this structure into place? Well, I am glad that you asked. Before turning out the light each night, take a few moments on a piece of paper to break down your following day. Write down 1 or 2 simple actions throughout the day and into small sections of specific times, such as early morning, waking up until 10 o'clock. So that's one group. Then 10 to 12, that could be your late morning. 12 to 3, we'll call that afternoon. 3 to 5, late afternoon. And then 5 to 8 could be your evening. And then after 8 until bedtime, well, we'll just call that night. So again, breaking down the day into 6 different time frames. Now, not every hour of the day needs to be scheduled or programmed. Obviously, allow time for things to change, or including your mood. But perhaps 10 to 12, you write down 30 minutes to read, or to meditate, or to pray. Maybe in the early afternoon, between 12 and 3, you go for a walk outside. 5 to 8, you drop in on your family and say, hey, what's for dinner? Make a point of at least trying to put an action into place. Remember last week how we were turning our whys into hows? This is one of those how steps. Planning to control, to find purpose, to be someone not only for yourself, but for others like your friends and your family members. Imagine each morning being the season of the cherry blossom. The same sun shining on them is now waking you up to bring new life to you. And as the sun sets in the evening, be grateful for your day. Be grateful that you had a chance to experience your day, to experience your activities, be it a nice cup of coffee or planting something in the flower bed. And then be grateful of what you hope you'll do tomorrow, continuing daily as your list continues to grow. One quick word before we end today. Each of us are going through our own personal levels of emotional struggle. For some of you, the techniques I share, they may help in your current state, and for that I am incredibly grateful. However, there are many other therapies, such as cognitive behavioral therapies, there's talk therapy, even drug therapy. These are all available for when dreaming about cherry blossoms just doesn't quite bring you the release that you need. If this is the case, please reach for assistance through a licensed professional. My hope is to help you in your emotional anxieties, but my techniques or suggestions are not a fix-all. If you are really going through something more than what I can offer, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com to find additional support. Scroll all the way at the bottom of the page, where there are a number of resources that you can reach out to. And thanks. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, hear the musical playlist from today's episode, or simply wanting to know where to send chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. You'll even find additional resources for emotional support, including our online community and our Facebook page. You're not alone. You are not alone. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized Sweet Tooth. And now something my attorney wants me to say. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and is not intended to, nor should they serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you, and you should only act upon the advice of such physician. Now, what I like to say. I am an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this and future podcasts in aiding those needs. To find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And finally, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of emotional health. I'm Chad Lawson, and until next time, be kind to your mind, and join me next week as we calm it down.